Well, let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
Government has endorsed the Bawku mediation report by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II and directed the immediate return of the rival chief Alhaji Seidu Abagri to Nalerigu under the authority of the Nairi, a statement and signed by spokesperson to the president Felix Kwakye Ofosu says the government accepts all recommendations in the report presented on Tuesday, affirming the Supreme Court's position on the rightful Bawku overlord. The government of Ghana has deployed a contingent of 54 soldiers to Jamaica as part of an international support mission aimed at assisting the country's rebuilding efforts. Speaking to the soldiers before their departure, President John Dramani Mahama said, aside deploying soldiers and officers, Ghana is also providing temporary tents and food items.
Ghana has consistently stood for international solidarity, humanitarian assistance, and global responsibility. Our nation understands the pain of natural disasters and the long road to recovery. Today's mission reinforces Ghana's commitment to humanitarian response, disaster recovery and reconstruction, and South-South cooperation, Pan-African and Afro-Caribbean solidarity.
The minority in parliament has strongly criticized government for deploying troops to Benin and Jamaica without parliamentary approval, saying the decision was misguided. According to the caucus, there are domestic crises that should have received utmost priority and not public stand on the global stage.
They sought to buy helicopters. They had to consult parliament. So how come when you want to deploy troops to Benin, you do not consult parliament? When you want to deploy troops to Jamaica, you do not consult parliament. What are they hiding within this process? Sending troops to Benin, we need to understand which protocols under which this deployment is going to be undertaken, how many troops are going to be sent, how long this operation is going to be undertaken, and what is the cost to the state.
Meanwhile, the Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa has responded to the concerns of the minority, stating that the country has historically provided aid to countries that required such assistance.
Honorable members of this August House, these enhanced and consequential humanitarian gestures were deliberate expressions of Ghana's diplomatic identity and values in a global environment marked by increasing humanitarian needs and diminishing international attention. Ghana's actions carry significant moral and diplomatic weight. They signal Ghana's refusal to be indifferent to suffering and its determination to remain a responsible and compassionate actor on the international stage.
The Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund has approved Ghana's 5th program review under the IMF-supported program, a decision that could unlock about $380 million in fresh funding before the end of the year. The approval follows assessments that Ghana has made notable progress in meeting key benchmarks and targets under the IMF-supported program.
It's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're also on YouTube, on TV3 Ghana. And as always, probably brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, Sasso Insecticide Spray and Quell, Kum Tum Tum Preco. Coming up next show on Ghana Tonight, Boko is still in the news for the good reason. And 1 billion cedis for Boko's redevelopment is on the table tonight. But what exactly is the true state of affairs in terms of the need, and how much of an impact will this 1 billion cedis have in terms of getting the people there to commit to the lasting peace? Because as was established yesterday, the Otumfuo Osei the second-led mediation team, they finished their work. A chunk of the work now has to be done in terms of the people themselves as well, together with the leaders in the Boko municipality, taking up the next phase of the work to uphold the peace and also promote the development in the area. So this 1 billion is we understand, is a seed that government is committing to the redevelopment, revitalization of the Boko municipality. But this was contained in a document that was released by the Minister in charge of Government Communication, Felix Kwatso Fosu, earlier today, specifically talking about the recommendation. You see the military on the ground there as well, clearly making their presence known, even beyond this report that has been submitted yesterday, and the government also fully accepting the findings and the recommendations in this particular report. The military has also strategized post the report of the Otumfuo-led mediation team to also ensure they play their role in sustaining the peace in the area. This is it. Let's put it on the screen right now. The full details of this particular statement: government fully accepts all findings and recommendations of Otumfuo's Boko mediation report. The report provides a fact-based roadmap for lasting peace and stability in Boko, Naba, Asigri, Abogrago, Azoka. The second is the lawful Boko Naba and his authority cannot be challenged. Government will facilitate the safe relocation of Alhaji Seidu Abagri to Nalerugu under the Nayiri's direction. So this is a crucial aspect of it as well, that position and that support that government has committed to and indicated in the statement to facilitate the safe relocation of Alhaji Seidu Abagri. It's one that a number of security analysts have also commended. Now, the conflict caused severe human, social, and economic damage to Boko. President John Dramani Mahama has approved a 1 billion cedis Boko Revitalization Fund. That's what it's going to be called, Boko Revitalization Fund, 1 billion Ghana cedis. And there are no winners or losers, and all parties are urged to abide by the report in the interest of peace and national security. In the interest of peace and national security, no winners, no losers. That's what this report says. Now, let's go on to Zoom right now. Dr. Victor Doke is a security analyst and also a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. He's joining us on Zoom right now. Thank you so much, Doc, for your time on Ghana Tonight. Now, we've seen the commitment that has been expressed, at least based on the details of this report submitted by Otumfuo Osei to the second yesterday, which has been accepted by the presidency per the statement I just ran through. Both sides have committed to peace. One of the concerns previously was mistrust, for the security personnel who were deployed there previously, not now. What should be the thinking in terms of strategy for the presence of the security personnel in the area after this report has been submitted and accepted by government?
Thank you very much. I think one of the issues would be how professional the security agencies and its personnel are, and then how they go about their activities, either in enforcing the curfew or engaging in contact with the citizens themselves. Reason being that in the past where we had situations where they were accused of escorting one party to the market and then it escalated into violence and all of that. In this instance, they should just play or perform their mandate as directed and then leave other activities to the right agencies, right government agencies. They shouldn't try and then sort of like engage or try to bring the two sides for peace building activities and whatnot. They should just leave those activities for the government agencies, the civil society organizations, for them to roll out. It is not their mandate to do that. Now, we heard about the enforcement some time back. So ideally, we should expect that the state security is going to go hard on anybody that flouts the regulations, especially with regards to the specific recommendation in, taking Mr. Seidu out of Boko or its environment. So we are looking at how that is going to play out. As much as they should be professional, and this is the time we have to look at instances where lapses in the past. So if we need to retrain build capacity, we should do that for them to be more professional in dealing with their day-to-day activities. So in instances where they have to assist, gather intelligence of any criminal activities, then we expect that there will be that agency collaboration with the police, also sister agencies, to foster that unity and then look at dealing with every or any threat that may arise. But holistically, I think so far so good. The two sides have understood what the report has brought out, and they haven't met the king himself, and then expressing their interest in awards gives us the impression that there's some commitment to addressing this issue of bringing it to finality. So now we are all waiting to hear or see that specific recommendation of taking the rival chief out of that enclave and then assigning him a different role in Arabic, as the for has stated, as the also stated. So security should be on their toes, especially we're heading towards the festive season proper. The two sides must also know that there is not a winner in this situation. All of them are winners, because then whoever is on the throne and whoever has decided to agree that their counterparts should be on the throne are all winners. Jubilation should be modest. Jubilation should not be in a form to spite the other group, and that can inflame passions. And that is where the security agencies should look out for and be very, very proactive in dealing with situations such as that.
I see. Now, you talk about there being no winners or losers. That's been emphatically stated by both Otumfuo II, the president, and this statement from the presidency. So, as has been seen, there hasn't been any wild jubilations or whatsoever recorded, and that's one good development, is it not? That's why I bring in Dr. Thomas Winsome Manaba. He's a member of parliament for the Garu constituency, and his constituency is not too far away from Boko as well. So, I mean, this is a development that he's also been watching quite closely. Dr. Naba, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Okansi, and good evening to your cherished viewers and listeners.
Right. I mean, to the extent that we've seen the leaders of both sides of this Boko situation whip their followers in line, there hasn't been, any, outrageous or wild jubilations or one that could threaten the situation there. That's one good development or observation, is it not? That after yesterday, there's been some relative peace in the area.
Sure. Thank you very much. I think even from the date that the president announced that His Royal Highness Otumfuo Osei II was bringing the report to hand to him, I think from that day onwards, there has been some relative peace in Boku. We haven't heard of any gunshots that are of concern. And then everywhere you go, you hear people encouraging each other to accept whatever would come out, because peace was the ultimate choice that everyone is looking for. No one is looking for violence. Everybody thinks that they are tired, fed up of the precious lives that we have lost, the businesses that have gone wrong, economy that has shattered, and livelihood that has lost. So I think the calm you see now, devoid of so much of jubilation, is because everybody is praying and hoping that this will be the final mediation that should happen between COSATU and Mamprusis in Boku to enable peace to exist, to enable coexistence, to enable the economy to come back to what it was in the 80s, in the 70s. That is why Boku is calm. It is now everybody's wish and prayer that this peace comes to stay.
And you talk about the economic activity and life that has been lost there. And that's why we're hearing of the 1 billion Ghana cedis Boko Revitalization Fund that was announced today in that statement from the presidency. You know this area quite well. How much of an impact will this make? And also, how will this entice or encourage the people there to commit to sustaining the peace in the area?
That was a good proposal, and then from the president, and an intention to help revive the economy of Boku and the Kosak traditional area, because for far too long, due to the conflict, many investors didn't want to invest in Boku. Even native who had businesses there have taken the business out of Boku. Agriculture was not going on very well because you don't know you are in the farm, you can be attacked. And trans-border trade was a little bit limited because of the tight security and then the rest. So a lot of people have lost their businesses. Even NGOs had packed away from the Kosak traditional area, especially in the last 5 years. So with this announcement to help boost the economy of Boku and bring it back to life, I think it's very good, because we need to generate jobs that would engage the youth that have been involved in this conflict for so many years. I think once they are getting jobs to do, they may at least also allow peace to prevail, because they now have something to worry their heads about. They now have something to engage their hands in. So I think it's a very laudable idea that the president has come out with this 1 billion Ghana cedis fund to revitalize Boku and the Kosak traditional area for the devastating effect that the conflict has had on the people and the land of Boku.
And Dr. Anaba, stay with me. Doctor, I'm going to come to you in a bit, but then again, this is it. This is how the situation really looks like. And these are the members of the committee of the Boko Revitalization Fund, as we've just spoken about, and it's going to be on the screen right now. Dr. Kasiel Atoba Forson is the finance minister, and the acting defense minister, Donatus Akamuguri, is the Upper East Regional Minister. Mama Yariga is Majority Leader, Member of Parliament for Boko Central. And then also that's the Dr. Kasiel Forson chairs this particular committee. And then you have the members as well, as indicated earlier. The amount, at least, has been described as a seed money for this fund, 1 billion Ghana cedis. And that's what we hear Dr. Anaba talk about this being a commending start. But Dr. Victor Doke, what's your view on this? Taking into consideration what has happened there, the development needs of the people, and the security dimension of the way forward as well, because we can't talk about development without also factoring into it the security situation there, is it not? How much of a difference and impact will this 1 billion make?
It is not much, in my personal opinion, but I think, sorry, it is a start. So in this particular instance, you're looking at how the 1 billion cedis, which ties into structural prevention, is going to play out, which is very key in preventing conflict. So in what areas that they have to prioritize is very key. And we have to consider the fact that if in the future, for the long term, this will need to be what? Quadrupled, because it won't be enough. We are talking about even part of this 1 billion for the processes of reconciliation, for the processes of what? Dealing with other outstanding issues, for the processes of revamping the Bokwita Ethnic Peace Committee, okay? Reconstituting it, resourcing this committee to do a lot of work with the peace building, which ties to reconciliation. You cannot do away with this, traditional medium that they themselves understand. So that in itself is one way to foster unity, which will trickle down to the community. So for the short term, yes, it will do something, but for the long term, it needs to, because you're talking about creation of employment. If need be, private partnership, and look at how they can help develop the town itself. Vibrant opportunities, employment, socio-economic development for the youth to engage in. And everywhere there's a conflict and it's been addressed, those conflicts, situations such as this, you need that infrastructure, you need that development, so people will not relapse back to violence as they know.
Yeah, appreciate you on this. Thank you so much for joining us. He's a security analyst and also a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, Dr. Victor Doke. Dr. Naba, in a minute or two, what should be the thinking going forward, especially when it comes to the leaders, the traditional leaders in the area, staying focused and whipping their people in line for as long as this entire peace process will require? Finally.
To me, the thinking should be embrace peace. We don't have any option but to embrace peace. Conflict has not taken us anywhere. Conflict has not taken any country anywhere. Ukraine has been under conflict. It is mediation that is going to solve it. Palestinians and Israelis are fighting. It is mediation that is going to resolve it. Buku has been in a conflict for a very long time. It is mediation that is bringing a solution, and the menu has been set. And I think that all our leaders, our opinion leaders, chiefs, and everybody should embrace this chance given to us by His Royal Highness Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II. Let's all embrace peace and let's all live happily in Buku. Let's go back to where we were in the 80s so that Buku become a booming economic center in Ghana. Just like the president has given us something. Some may see it to be half glass full or empty half glass. To me, it is something worth recommending him for thinking of the people of Cossack tradition. They're giving us 1 billion in addition to what the assemblies are already getting to put up developments in the place. So to me, let's all embrace peace. And I hope that our leaders, our chiefs, our traditional elders, both sides would embrace these mediation recommendations so that we can live together happily as one people.
And I do thank you so much. Dr. Thomas Wuntso-Manaba is Member of Parliament for the Garu constituency, and his constituency has unfortunately been one of the constituencies impacted by the spillovers of this situation in Boko. You recall what happened in October. A head teacher, 4 others were gunned down around the NHIA office in the constituency. Not too good a development. So he has great interest in the peace and security in the Boko municipality and also that Boko Central constituency. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, we're live from Parliament. We're going to cross over to Parliament shortly, where the House is still in session, deliberating bills and also some martyrs captured in the agreements so far. We understand that the sports fund. The sports fund is one that's been discussed right now. Parliament earlier in the day approved a concession agreement between government and the Accra-Kumasi Expressway Limited as the concessionaire for the construction of the Accra-Kumasi Expressway. But we're going to hold on to this. We're crossing over to Parliament right now because Parliament is still in session. Alexander Apanyomaking is Minority Leader. He is speaking right now. Take a look.
Mr. Speaker, some of you have even been forgotten. Some of you have even been forgotten. They only know the 189. They don't know your names. They don't know your committees. Meanwhile, one person is serving on some 6 committees. on juicy boards. Some of you have no boards. So allow us to do the work, especially as it will serve your good interest. Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Minister of Finance should explain to us what is National Oil Company. Then after that, I can come back.
Honorable Minority Leader, please conclude your submission. Then the Honorable Minister will have the opportunity to respond to all issues that you have raised.
So, Mr. Speaker, we are concerned. They tell us that there's some money going to National Oil Company. We don't know this National Oil Company, what money they are sending there. Then the other earmark funds, 9 billion. What is that? 9 billion. Where is it going? Mr. Speaker, then they say other expenditures. What is that? That's 16 billion. Mr. Speaker, the presidency alone, when we considered the expenditure at the presidency, it has shot up by over 300%. That place alone. Mr. Speaker, we have also noticed that although the government did just 60 ministers, there are hundreds of appointees on the same level of responsibility with the same conditions of service. Mr. Speaker, several of them at the presidency alone, you have director responsible for agriculture. Then that is Dr. Otukunu. Then you also have an advisor on agriculture. Meanwhile, you have a minister of agriculture and a deputy minister. Mr. Speaker, if you look at other expenditures, there is nothing specific as to how these monies are being expended. Meanwhile, the women banking, the promise that was made for the women banking is yet to materialize. Mr. Speaker, year one, nothing was done, nothing was achieved. That is 2025. Then in 2026, the only amount you provided can only make up for the capital, the minimum capital required by Bank of Ghana. So even that, the law says you can't touch it. So it means that 2026, this women banking thing that you wrote in your manifesto, that one to Yamutu. Mr. Speaker, you are talking about other expenditures. And the amount is not a small amount. The reform, the minister in charge of public sector, look at the public sector, all the loopholes. You appointed a minister and gave her that responsibility. You have virtually rendered her redundant by not adequately providing for her portfolio. So how is she supposed to undertake the reforms in the public sector? For instance, ECG so far has increased tariffs by over 27%. Meanwhile, there are serious loopholes at ECG. How are we seeing to those reforms? Who is supervising the reforms? You provided nothing for it. The reforms are to provide savings. Yet, you created the office, you created the portfolio, brought a colleague member of parliament to be vetted as a minister, and after that, you have forgotten about her. In fact, that ministry, that portfolio is not even elevated to a cabinet status. So it means you are not even serious about the reforms. Then you now tell us that under OGM, some 16 billion going to some other expenditure. You are now going to buy a new presidential jet. when you criticize the purchase of presidential jet in opposition. Mr. Speaker, I think that the government must get its priorities right. We have seen this, and they want to implement, spend these monies. Mr. Speaker, they are responsible for their own actions. We are not part of this rather questionable expenditure. We will not be part of it. Yes, this side of the house is distancing itself from these.
So we're just bringing you live proceedings from the Chamber of Parliament. Right now, members of Parliament are looking into the consideration of some budget estimate. You know that very soon they need to pass the appropriation. So you have the minority leader who has largely been questioning some of the expenditure items in the budget, saying that government has thus far failed to set its priorities right. But earlier this evening, a number of bills were approved or passed by the House, including the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Bill. In fact, right after that, the sports minister came to the House to withdraw the sports fund bill and relayed it. Now, after the relaying of that bill, he urged the House to consider the bill under a certificate of urgency. What that means is that within a day, they could look at the bill and pass it and forward it to the presidency for assent. After that, the minority leader rose to his feet to raise some concerns about how over the period a lot of those bills have been brought under certificate of urgency. In fact, that led to some misunderstanding on the part of some majority MPs, and so tensions began to flare, and in fact it forced the speaker to repeatedly scream on top of his voice to ask members of parliament to resume their seat. In fact, there was that mention of the Kwesimintim MP, whom the speaker threatened lightly that he would force him to walk out of the chamber if he should continue in that manner of agitation in the chamber. It is after that we have come to this level of seeking to approve some over 220 billion cedis for government obligations and other expenditure for the 2026 fiscal year. But also we can get to hear from the Deputy Finance Minister, who is coming to respond to some concerns. And in fact, the amount is 222 billion plus that government intends to spend for other obligations, as has been captured in the budget.
For the year ending December 31st, 2026. Mr. Speaker, let me say that it is surprising to hear today that there are no proper governance structures at our district assemblies. That cannot be right. Our district assemblies have good governance structures, and we all know that there is a general assembly that approves of the budget of the assemblies. There are committees of the assemblies, just as we have in Parliament here. And every procurement of the district assembly goes through our procurement laws. So it is surprising for anybody to say, and no being a person than the minority leader of this Parliament to suggest that in our assemblies there are no proper governance structures. That is not true. Mr. Speaker, the big push, as we have explained severally, is an arrangement to speed up the provision of infrastructure in this country. And in the 2025 budget, we allocated over 13 billion for the big push. As you see here, an amount of 30 billion cedis has been allocated to the big push. But Mr. Speaker, contrary to the suggestions that was made a short while ago, this is not being implemented at the presidency. The big push, if it is roads, is being implemented by the Ministry of Roads. If it is transport, it is. So the respective ministries are implementing this particular initiative. It is just that we have made special allocation to that to lay emphasis on it and to make sure that payments are done promptly. Mr. Speaker, I want you to know this. He asked a question that what is the transfer to National Oil Company? This has always been the rendition. The National Oil Company is GNPC, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. That is our national oil company. And so the allocation of 2.6 billion is going to GNPC. Mr. Speaker, you will see that we have also made an allocation. You see, I listen to you in silence. I listen to you in silence, and I expect you to do same, Minority Leader. Mr. Speaker, you see, the Minority Leader, who is always preaching that people should listen to him in silence, today does not want to listen to us in silence. Mr. Speaker, we have made an allocation of 29.8 billion for arrears clearance. You will recall that in this year's 2025 budget, we made an allocation of 13.7 billion to clear arrears.
Well, so there's live proceedings from Parliament. Parliament is still in session as we speak. Christian Yale is a parliamentary affairs correspondent. You heard him there. So Parliament is still sitting. In fact, they have to deal with a number of things before they go on their Christmas break. That's why they're sitting for this long period and going to the night. We're going to see more of this in the coming days. So stay with us. We'll be giving you a lot more updates. But coming up next on Ghana Tonight, from illegal guns to gun amnesty, Ghana's efforts to curb small arms and light weapons working. That's a conversation because earlier today there was something that happened. In fact, we got an update from the Ghana Police Service on the 15th of December, some 2 days ago, at about 2:30 p.m. Ashanti South, that's the police department led by the regional director, ASP Princeton Piesa Dakwa, as part of intelligence gathering on supplies of guns to criminals within Obuasi and its environs. They had information that there was one military officer by name WO2 David Kofi Brew, who was behind this act of selling military-grade ammunition to persons that's criminals in this Obuasi area, and some Galamsey operators as well. And we understand per the information that we got earlier, he was contacted and he came on board military vehicle with registration number 54GA92 to meet the agent that the police had actually prepared for this entire operation. Now, the suspect told the undercover agent that he could supply M16. This is military-grade weapon, G3, pistols, and other weapons. And the police undercover agent settled on the M16. And the military officer gave the price of that M16 as 80,000 Ghana cedis. Yesterday, at about 2:30 p.m., the suspect called the undercover agent of the police that the gun and another pistol were ready for pickup. He actually got the M16 and the pistol. He met the undercover agent of the police at Bekwai Shell Filling Station, and in the process of handing over the weapons, he was arrested together with the weapons. That's what you see on the screen there. These weapons, the M16 and the pistol. The weapon was found to be a TMM-22 assault rifle with 99 rounds of ammunition and 12 rounds magazines, and an Ashtoros GX2 pistol, also with 100 rounds of ammunition and 3 rounds magazines we see. the suspect admitted upon interrogation that he sells the weapons to people in and around Obuasi. Now, this suspect, the man you're seeing on the screen there, is in custody pending further action and information of his superiors. Who exactly is he working for? Who is he working with? Who is he taking orders from? Who is giving him access to these weapons? Those are questions, right? Dr. Adam Bona is the Executive Secretary of the Commission of Light Weapons and is joining us right now. The Small Arms and Light Weapons Commission is joining us on Zoom. Dr. Bona, appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Now, these questions I ask are one that you're going to be concerned with a development like this, looking at the sophisticated nature of the weapons that this military officer was able to get, and he says he's been selling them. You would be concerned about who is working with, who is working for, and how he's getting these weapons, is it not?
All right, yes. So good evening to your cherished viewers. Yes, and in fact, the team, the Amnesty team, together with our collaborators from the Ministry of Interior, the police, and in fact, my commission. Yes, it is sad to have not a civilian, but a military officer, not a retired military officer, but a serving military officer who is engaged in selling a full-blown machine gun with pistols to persons to use for what? And you know this machine gun, this firearm he attempted to sell can be used to flatten a whole community. This is an assault rifle that can be used to flatten a whole community in 24 hours. And so you have a whole military officer who is selling them. But it is a reason why the government of Ghana, through the Interior Ministry and the allied agencies, the small arms and the police and the security agencies, an amnesty has been declared. The essence of the amnesty is for those who, for one reason or the other, are in possession of illicit firearms to surrender them, and they don't get punished, they don't get arrested, no interrogation at all. Some might have some of these M16s, the G series, AK-47. These are weapons that our law does not permit anyone to register. You can't own them if you are a civilian. And so to have a military officer sell them tells you we have a big job at hand and we must deliver as per what we have been asked to do. Because then he's selling it as cheap as 80,000 Ghana cedis. As cheap as 80,000 Ghana cedis. It is a lot of money, but if you look at the devastation this weapon can cause to a community, you would understand the reason why I say it is as cheap as 80,000 with several rounds of ammunition. And he's selling these weapons to persons, and he sold these weapons to persons. Well, I mean, I do know that the current military hierarchy wouldn't spare him. The prosecutors, i.e. the police, wouldn't spare him. Whoever he sold these weapons to, I'm sure these people would have to be, we would have to get them and retrieve these weapons from them, because these are, call them war machinery.
And
Ghana is not at war.
If you call them war machinery, because even the Ash Taurus GX2 and then the TM22 is also described as Rock Island Armory as well. It just gives you an idea of the sophisticated nature of this arms we're talking about. But this soldier is the one who is supplying it to. He says he sells it to people in Obuasi. We know the illegal mining that goes on in the area, and then all of this other criminal activity. What should be the approach, together with your commission, in dealing with this, now that we know where the arms are being sold to, and then also the nature of the arms, where it is coming from?
Well, I wouldn't want to disclose so much when it comes to the entire approach into getting to the bottom of this, because the issue is still under investigations. And it is better not to disclose too much. But I can tell you that the state machinery, the small arms, the police, and the allied security agencies, we've got what it takes to be able to, detect where these weapons have been sold and where these weapons are coming from. We have the machinery to trace and track weapons wherever they are coming from in the world. And so we should be able to trace them. We should be able to tell where. And so, but like I said, I wouldn't want to disclose so much. The most important thing is, parting our colleagues, the police, and the intelligence community within the police who've done a yeoman's job by going behind and arresting this military officer. I mean, this is a 7 W, from what I have picked, selling weapons, and these are not shotguns. These are not, call them hunters' weapons. These are not the everyday weapons we know. These are not even AK-47 he sold. He sold M16. These are armored-piercing, call them, weapons he's selling. And we are not at war. Even if we are at war, a soldier cannot be selling these weapons. You get it? And so that is the most unfortunate situation. But like I said, is the reason why this amnesty has been declared, because for a very long time, a lot of these people have had a field day doing these things, and it is important to give people some moratorium. Surrender your weapon, do what is expected. And let me also put it that the amnesty team is actually heading to the Upper West region. The Upper West regional minister is hosting us on Friday and Saturday. We are doing a sensitization workshop, meeting all the media, your colleagues in the media, the security agencies, together with the regional minister on Friday. And then on Saturday, there is an amnesty walk to drum home the fact that if you know of anyone who has illicit weapon, tell them to surrender them to the nearest district police office. We have all the district police stations in this country. Are amnesty centers you can surrender a weapon.
I appreciate this information. Dr. Adam Bona, thank you for joining us on Ghana Tonight. He is the Executive Secretary of the Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons there, and quite a worrying development in the updates we got from the Ghana Police Service there. But there's more of this on 3news.com. We're going to go for the script break. When we're back, we'll round it up. Stay with us. We're also keeping an eye on what's happening in Parliament right now as we continue to update you on 3news.com. Please make some time and visit 3news.com, and we'll be giving you a lot more updates as we get from Christian Yali. He's our parliamentary affairs correspondent. The information from Parliament right now, though, is that Parliament has approved just a few minutes ago 222.9 billion Ghana cedis for what has been termed as other government obligations. Other government obligations. The amount is supposed to be used to take care of expenditure outside the budget estimates for MMDAs in 2026. So that's 222.9 billion Ghana cedis. And as we speak, the Takoradi Member of Parliament is delivering a statement on the Anchors Festival and recognizes a vibrant platform created by Connect FM, our very own Connect FM in Takoradi. So that's what's happening in Parliament right now. There's more of it on 3news.com. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your company. I'm Alfred Okansi. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint.